Hey everybody, welcome to the H4G channel. I'm Tony, this is my wife Anna, and previously I'd seen kind of a cool video on the Immortal John Hancock's channel, and basically what it was kind of like, what is it like to be married to a collector and a gamer, kind of what to expect, and I thought it was kind of a unique spin on a YouTube video, kind of a little bit different than just like a review, right? So I figured we'd kind of cover that a little bit today, cutting between me and my wife and Dave Perfect Temporazzo and his wife. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first question is, what is it like to be married to Dave as a gamer? Let's say that. Not married to Dave in general, which I know is of course amazing, but married to Dave as a gamer slash nerd.
I guess it's okay. Sometimes trying to communicate, like, while he's playing games is a little challenging. Like, I was, like, on the other floor, and I was like, Dave, and he's like, you know, like, whistling along. I was like, all right, fuck it. G-chat.
How does it feel to be married to a YouTube celebrity?
Oh, yeah, right. Like an F-list YouTube celebrity.
It's cool. I mean, Tony works so hard on this show, and every once in a while we'll go out to eat or something. Very randomly, someone will come up to him and be like, "Hey, are you Tony from H4G?" That's pretty cool when that happens.
It's really nice that you like ask a total stranger to do that and slip them $5. Be like, make my husband feel good about himself for like a minute, you know. Raise his self-esteem a touch.
Yeah,
I
it's never enough though. It's never enough for you.
I always tell her that I need to do H4G long enough that I get famous enough that no one questions my fabulousness.
He's so fabulous at home in our personal life, and he needs to share it with the world, I guess.
What do you think about him being a part of H4G?
I think it's interesting. Always been interesting.
Go into detail about that.
Oh boy.
You've enjoyed many of the videos of the past.
I have, and I actually do enjoy some of the live streaming. That's been pretty funny. Your face as the logo is also pretty great. It's a majestic thing to view.
So, you know, what do you tell your family about that?
So far, like, your family was like pretty unaware up until like the last couple years, and then I forget how we brought it up to them. But then your dad ended up like Googling H4G, and like I think he like binge watched.
Yeah,
like,
I think he found it on his own somehow, just looking for my name for something, and
then he like
came across it.
And he was watching. He's like, "Hey, you're in these videos," and it was like, "Yeah, he's been in them for like years." Occasionally, this happens at work too. We've had some coworkers stumble upon the H4G videos, and then we have to explain what's going on there.
Some people call me Perfect 10 every once in a while.
Yeah, Perfect 10. It happens at work.
Yep.
It does.
That's amazing.
I think at first, being married to a collector, being in a relationship with a collector was overwhelming for me because Tony was more of a quantity over quality type of collector. So really well, I'm saying at first it was, you know, any garage sale, any thrift store, he would get something, you know, maybe not the entire box of games, but at least something. And now
any old street corner garage sale, you know.
Yeah, and I think now it's
picking
more
out some trash.
I think now it's more about curating games, which is what his cousin decided to call it. And I love that because it's more about having a few amazing items as opposed to, you know, boxes and boxes of games. We still have boxes and boxes of games, but the flow has stopped a little bit, especially now that he can borrow games from Retro Taku, which has made a huge difference to my sanity because the big box comes in and then the big box goes out.
Yes. So it's nice to be able to like talk about games and not actually own them. And like having them take up space, and like I'll come back, I'll borrow something, and I'll be like, look what I bought, and it's like $400 on the price tag, and she'll be like, just kidding. I did not buy this. I did though.
Well, and I think that this show has really helped you too because you've had a lot of opportunities to see things that you might not have otherwise.
Oh yeah.
The DD and such. And the Hello Kitty Dreamcast, of course, is the most important one. just like half cut me off, so I'm like,
Just
Yeah,
Louis in the
clearly
crowd.
the
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Oh, buddy, he's a cuddle
snuggle,
bug.
yeah.
How does the perfect 10 moniker change your working life? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if they expect you to be perfect, Dave, or they just think
do.
of you as
They have
perfect.
a similar.
They just love him.
Yeah,
they just love
they
him
have a
like you
similar-
love him, Tony. They just like they love
Yep.
him, and then they're like, oh, he's perfect.
That's inappropriate for work.
It's
love
not
him the
safe
way
for
I
work.
love
Comes with a not safe for work disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly. Do we play games together?
Sometimes.
Limited, sorry.
We played all the BioShock games together, and by together I mean Tony played them and I watched and told him what to do.
You watched for the story. You
Yeah.
actually didn't want to play. You were kind of like into the story, like as a movie.
I didn't
almost.
feel like I needed to play because we strategized together and I kind of like helped you, and I always showed you that you were passing things that you could have picked up.
Yeah. 'Cause I suck.
And we really liked the BioShock games, and we
Yeah.
actually have a huge framed picture of a big daddy and a little sister above our bed.
Yeah. One day it's just gonna fall down and kill us.
That
Probably
would be
me.
okay.
Probably me, but
That would be a good way for you to go.
yeah, it wouldn't be bad.
I think I'm gonna loosen the nails a little bit.
Just loosen a little bit. I did take out not super lucrative, but a larger life insurance policy out of myself recently. Yeah, so I didn't want to go too big because I thought maybe she'd get ideas. And
And
Lord knows she'll try to kill me in my sleep.
back to the question. Recently, we've been playing Breath of the Wild together.
Yeah.
He has his file, and I have my file, and we play intermittently. And whenever the other one is playing, we're saying, "Oh, where are you? I haven't gone there yet. Oh,
Yeah.
I have been there. Let's do that." It's such a fun game because I'm not a huge gamer, but I'm like obsessed with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, yeah. So it's like she doesn't really play video games too much. Like we played a lot of like Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, oh, I'm a big Mario
And
Kart. Anything from N64 from when I was a kid that I have that nostalgia for, you know, like
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie or anything like that, I really love.
Yeah. But like with Mario Kart, we played the hell out of that game. We played the hell out of the Wii version.
Yeah,
But,
when I was like 9 months pregnant, I played Mario Kart and I would like rage. And it got a lot of my stress hormones out, I think.
Yes, I think that's probably correct. But yeah, Breath of the Wild is a good multiplayer experience because it's like you kind of like we'll do like shrines together and such, and then when I find them in my own game, because you were ahead of me for a while, you know, I'd be like, oh, I know how to beat this pretty easy, and just kind of move on from there. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Or one of us will just be stuck, like do not know what to do. This Zelda puzzle is driving me nuts, and then the other one will come in and be like, "Oh, you just do that."
You idiot.
Well, no, it's just that like the beauty of the Zelda puzzle is that it's often like a very simple answer that just didn't even
Simplest
occur to
answer
you.
is always the best one. You're like overthinking, like not you, but like in general, like
Yeah.
you is overthinking, like, oh, how the hell, like what, like I have to use this and this and that, but it's really just shoot an arrow. Like,
And then you
over
figure
there.
it out, and you're like, "Ugh."
So dumb.
course.
It's so hard because it's so easy, almost in a way. Tell me about some of Dave's, being married to kind of like a nerdy quote gamer, like some of his more, because he has like slightly different hobbies than I do. For example, he's into 3D printing, that kind of stuff. Like, so what's to expect and what occurs, and just give me some details regarding that. Like, how does it, as a married couple? So I don't need details about what he's doing necessarily in terms of like setting it up, but as it fits within the realm of your marriage, how does that work?
Well, so we got a 3D printer for our birthday, which we built, which was apparently extremely frustrating, but then now it's working. And we print everything. Like every weekend day we wake up and then we print stuff. And so I think the 3D printer sounds like the intro to American Horror Story. It makes that like squeaky sound, and and every time I'm going by the lower level, it's just like squeak, 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 like American Horror Story. And I'll go in our office, and then I'll just find like these little things, and they're just everywhere. At first it's like one or two, and now it's like there's an entire desk full of like little tiny robots. I think they're gonna start spilling out like all over the house. I expect to see them like in the bathroom, in the mantle, like.
So what is that you're holding right there?
This Dave printed today. It's the Hard for Games joystick. It's got I don't know if you can see the Hard for Games and the little, yeah.
So obviously, Tony has to spend a lot of his free time working on Hard for Games. How does that make you feel? Are you ever jealous of Hard for Games?
Hard for Games is Tony's mistress. He gets a lot of pleasure out of it, a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
It's a tricky minx. Hard for Games. It brings a lot of that pepper, that spice to his life that I don't necessarily bring anymore. No, it's good. I mean, he spends a lot of time on it, but too much time, arguably. But it's a good outlet for you, and it's doing really well, and I think people really like it, so I think it's good. I'm not jealous of it because...
But it was frustrating when I spent a lot of time on it, though.
It can be frustrating because I miss you, but I know it's something that you love, and, you know, you like film and video games, and it's just a perfect marriage of those things.
Yeah. I mean, it's running a small business on top of already working.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
So you work, 40 hours a week, and then you probably work, 15, 20 hours a week on Hard for Games. Maybe on a busy week, on a
lighter
slow
week, maybe
more
10,
like 10. But still, I mean, it's a good chunk.
Yeah, something like that.
So I just watch my stories. I watch a lot of Hulu and Netflix and
miss her husband. To be fair, though, I mean, both of you are very, very technology oriented and very. I guess I should say engineer oriented, right?
No, yeah, we are engineers. So.
Yeah, you're both engineers, so you both are into the tech world and space.
Yep.
Who would you say is more so?
I think Dave brings a lot more of it home.
I do more of the hobby stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kristen just leaves that shit at work.
I leave some of it at work. Sometimes it spills over. It's just uncontrolled, but...
Does Dave ever start, when things start to get intimate, suddenly just flip over to ones and zeros?
No,
just
I've not experienced that
when
yet.
things start to reach a certain point, if you will.
It's not
It's just ones
Perazo-bot.
and zeros that start spewing, like lights, like holographic lights coming from every orifice. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, that's different than how I dreamt it.
I'm sure.
Oh my.
I think that can be categorized under bullying.
When you first started dating, how did you what was your reaction to finding out that he was involved with Hard for Games and doing that whole, in his free time?
So we started dating before Hard for Games ever happened. Probably a year before Hard for Games.
Yeah. Yeah. When Hard for Games started, I thought it was a really great idea because Tony was still working in film and he needed something as a creative outlet just to do for fun. Because when you go to school for what you love, you kind of get sick of doing that because you're doing it for work and then you don't know what to do in your spare time. So it was good for you. And I do remember the list of names, trying to pick a name for the show, and you saying Hard for Games, and I said, do not name the show that. Do not name the show that.
You were right.
It's hilarious, but just don't. And then he did, and now it's 7 years later.
It's too late.
And it's really fun to tell my parents about with my husband. He's working on Hard for Games today. I know, it's such a... it's a very innocent thing, but then you have to be it's called Hard for Games.
Dave's friend does this video game thing. It's Hard for Games.
Sometimes I just say it really fast and think that maybe they won't make the connection.
You're just oh goddamn,
My dad's what, and my mom was bah.
That's awesome. Yeah, retrospectively, the problem is that it was initially started with me, Richie, John, and so we're what we're gonna name it? They offered nothing, and I offered a list, and they're eh. So I'm well, what about this one? They're eh. So it's kind of one of those things that I was kind of creating in the name, not the show, but the name in a vacuum. And unfortunately,
and when it's just left up to you, that's what you get. Is what you're saying. Don't leave it up to
They're
Tony.
They were kind of not too hot on the other ones, and they were kind of okay with that one. So it was kind of the only thing. It was the only pick. You know what I mean?
I think it's good. I think you should own it. I think for your audience, it's great.
You just gotta.
you
gotta
know,
deal with it.
maybe this isn't the best way to put this, but it's in your face. You
Yeah,
know?
it's just really in there. It's really like, straight
and
up.
that's fine, you know? I mean, it's not like you're doing a show about the Vatican or something where you, like, can't call... You know, it's video games.
Yeah.
Just relax. Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Different. There's a lot of games. There's just a lot of
We
video
used
games.
to game as a couple once
That's
in a
true,
while.
yeah.
That hasn't happened in a while.
No. I think the last thing we played together was Borderlands, maybe.
But,
Would you say that your gaming marriage is falling apart? but your actual marriage is strong?
I don't know if it's falling apart. It's kind of like on hiatus. I'm super picky
Yeah.
about what I play, and that's part of. I think
Yeah.
that's 90% of my problem.
So you're both new parents. How do you guys plan to introduce video games to your kids?
I think if our son doesn't like video games, Tony might throw him off the mountain.
I was about to say throw him off the mountain. Like they do in China. You're born a girl, off the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the first game that you're going to introduce our son to?
Well, you know, he's like only 4 months, so we don't even have him looking at screens right now. We don't even want him to look at screens, like.
I was gonna say, has he not played yet?
Yeah.
Has he not like sat in your lap like while you played?
Yeah, I'm sure he's like seen like screens and stuff, but we try to like face him away from them.
He's
We're not.
fascinated by the TV and the laptop and stuff, and like
We
starts
try to
stare at
avoid
it. So
it,
we
yeah.
swivel.
So we're the kind of parents that we don't even want him to, like, we have no interest in purchasing an iPad. But a lot of parents, like, they're kind of like the go-to is an iPad. So we're kind of like, you know, I know a lot of parents do it like in moderation or whatever, but like we're just kind of like, we have no interest in it. We try to avoid it probably for the like first couple of years of his life, really.
I mean, we say that now, but
Yeah, who knows what'll happen.
like,
but,
you say a lot of things before the fact.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, probably, I mean, you know, realistically, you can't have a young child play anything complicated. So probably something simple, arcadey would be.
I think
the first
as long
game.
as the iPad is like locally sourced and organic, it's probably okay.
GMO free.
Yeah.
You know, fair trade iPad.
That's fine.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's good. Yeah, no, in terms of like a first game, probably just something simple and arcadey and in moderation, you know. Like, I think it's important for children to not be obsessed with screens when they're really young and like get outside and play
because look
sports.
what happens.
Well, no, like I didn't play a lot of video games when I was a kid. It kind of grew into it. I'm gonna change my answer. I think the first video game I really ever played was Mario Brothers. So I think the first one should be Mario Brothers because it's simple. It's easy-ish at first, but then it gets challenging. It teaches kids that you have to get good. It's not a new sort of game where it's like, oh, well, you died 4 times. Would you like to be invincible? You know, I think that, like, as a microcosm of life, that teaches the wrong lesson. And it's like...
So he should just play Contra.
You should just play Contra without the Konami
Without a
code.
cheat,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no,
Be
just
like, this is what all video games are like.
something that's fun, that's classic, that teaches you that you can't just win in life. You gotta work for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it needs to have that much of a lesson behind it.
Yeah, but Mario, even without the lesson, Mario Brothers is just fun, like. Simple. I mean, it's not like a simple. You have to like obviously get good at it, but like, you know, it's like a other than the D-pad, a 2-button game.
So you're saying you want him to start on something retro, not current?
Yeah, just because it's you know, yeah, I'd say so. I think so.
I've thought a lot about this.
I thought a lot about this in the last 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave, how did you propose to this lovely lady? Right
Yeah. So I had told her that I was into, programming and video games and all that. So I was working on an iPhone game.
Development of an iPhone game.
And so I made, a proposal game where you run around, collect coins and things. It uses all sorts of, classic sound effects and things like that. It was a very basic game.
It was super cute. He's like, here, look, I loaded this. Can you just test this game for me? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it, and this is really horrendous looking stick figure, and I'm like, ooh, we're gonna have to work on this art or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like clicking it, and then all of a sudden I think I like jumped or something, and like it kind of like popped a giant like diamond thing, and was like, will you marry me on it? It was really cute.
So your whole married life has been based around...
Started with video games,
Yeah.
started with tech.
Yeah.
It's kind of just continued forward.
I think the bottom line for me is that being married to a gamer is better than being married to like a sports guy.
Why?
Because I can get into video games because there's like a story behind it typically, and there's characters, and I really like that. Whereas with sports, I've never really been able to get into it. I'm sure for some women, it's better to be married to a sports guy, but for me, I prefer video games.
Yeah. Just because you're your personal preference, but you've always been very like artistically inclined too, so I think you can get into the art design, a lot of games.
Yeah, and like I said, like the story. And
yeah.
if it's a good game, some games I think are really boring, like Xenoblade.
Oh shit. Oh shit, girl.
The only reason you like that is because it's like ass shot for the entire time she's running around.
That's Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade is...
I love how he knew exactly what I was talking about.
There's some finely defined butt in Xenoblade Chronicles X, but which is a good game, but Xenoblade is like one of the best RPGs I've ever played. But it's boring for you because it's like an RPG, because like I'm going around, like the story's very spread out between exploration.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying as a player. I'm saying as a wife of a gamer, Xenoblade is boring because I can't get into the story while you're playing it.
So bottom line, Xenoblade is boring for you. That's the lesson of today.
Great, I'm gonna get roasted now. Maybe not include that.
So again, just wanted to do a little video that was kind of different, showcase my dog sleeping, show my wife, Dave's wife, all that good stuff. And, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a share, and we will see you guys next time.